Right friends, welcome back to capsule number 2. This is Ganga Yamuna living persons, and Uttarakhand High Court for the first time in the country declared that river Ganga Yamuna as living persons. So they will have the status of a legal person. You look at various companies. Companies will have separate identity. If you take Reliance Industries, if you take Mahindra and Mahindra, company itself will have separate legal identity. So here similar legal identity is given to these rivers. So they will have the status of a legal person with all corresponding rights, duties and liabilities, just like what we have. So they will have corresponding rights, duties and liabilities. Here some officials are declared as the parents for the rivers to work on behalf of rivers, or you can say to represent on behalf of the rivers. Some government officials were declared as parents for both the rivers, right? Then please look into this Ganga Yamuna, or you can say Ganges Yamuna river system. And prior to that, New Zealand river, revered by the Maori tribes, has been recognized by the New Zealand Parliament as a legal person. So this is for the first time in the world, and the name of the river is WHANGANUI. WHANGANUI river was declared as a living entity, or you can say legal person. Subsequently, Uttarakhand High Court declared Ganges and Yamuna as legal persons or living entities. So, the river WHANGANUI, for the first time in the world, it was declared as living person or legal person. So, the river known by Maori as Te Awa Tapua, it is the third longest in New Zealand. So, it will have its own legal identity with all the corresponding rights, duties and liabilities of a legal person, right? So, first WHANGANUI river in New Zealand, then Ganges and Yamuna by Uttarakhand High Court, then New Zealand guidelines on WHANGANUI river. Here you see New Zealand declared not only river as indivisible and living whole, but it incorporated its tributaries and its physical and metaphysical elements, and it covers the entire stretch from mountains to the sea, and it covers all the tributaries, streams and other natural water courses that flow continuously or intermittently within the catchment. It includes lakes and wetlands also. If you look at the Uttarakhand High Court guidelines, here it does not mention associated lakes and wetlands, and it also does not cover explicitly the catchment area and other parts of the river basins. And here it gave the responsibility to protect the river to the government officials. The above persons are declared as parents or the human face to protect, conserve and preserve the rivers. So here parents are declared, government officials are the parents, whereas in New Zealand case, the rights were given jointly to the indigenous people and the government, right? So, what are the common points of both the judgments? Both the judgments recognize that the rivers are lifelines and culturally significant for the people living along them. Next point is, they see the rivers as living entities. In other words, the rivers will have the legal rights just like a juristic or legal person. So, declaring them as living entities means they will have legal rights. In both the cases, human beings are appointed as custodians to protect the river's rights. And the probable logic behind declaring them as living entities can be spiritual and physical characteristics, right? So, this is about common points of both the judgments. And now, questions pondering in everybody's mind because of these two judgments. the questions lingering in everybody's mind I have listed here. For human beings, the most fundamental human right is right to life. If you look at human beings, the most fundamental human right is right to life. And what does it mean for a river? Then, can human pollution is acceptable or not? Next point is, can a river have objections for construction of large dams? Can the dams restrict the flow of water in dry seasons? Can the dams restrict severely the flow of water in dry season? Can the sewage be allowed without treatment? And even with the treatment also, up to what level of the pollutants allowed in the discharged water? Then, do the creatures like Gangetic dolphins have the rights as part of the river ecosystem? That means the river ecosystem, does it have rights or not? Then the river has got no voice of its own. Now it became the responsibility of parents or protectors ensuring rights or demanding justice if they are violated. Then if there are violations, who would be the beneficiary or whom to penalize and how to penalize? So these are the questions lingering in everybody's mind after these judgments. Then points emanated from the decisions in both the countries. Is it to recognize rivers, the decision of legal entities or living persons? The decision in both the cases, is it really to recognize rivers having identity, worth, dignity and rights as intrinsic qualities, or basically to serve the mankind with the pristine quality of water? What is in the mind of Uttarakhand High Court? Is it to recognize rights of the rivers having identity, worth, dignity as intrinsic qualities, or basically to serve the mankind with the pristine quality of water so as to prevent pollution? Second point is, if it is based on spiritual considerations, if the declaration is based on spiritual considerations, then there may be demands from several quarters, several religions, several ethnic groups. Is it going to become the origin for similar demands in future, or is it going to set the precedent for similar demands from other regions? Then, are rivers meant for serving the mankind? The fundamental question is, are the rivers meant for serving the mankind? If that is the case, governments are already there. My point is, governments are already there. If that is the case, that means the rivers are meant for serving the mankind, then governments are already there. Namami Gange is already there. What difference does it make by nominating government officials as parents, and it may lead to conflict of interest, right? The next point is, because of the decisions of the government, the flow in rivers are affected badly because of several dams and check dams. The flow is affected badly, and at the same time, heavy dams caused ecological damage. Human settlements adjacent to the rivers encroached into the riverbeds. Governments are not doing much for the past 70 years. Then how can they do at the present juncture when most of the damage has already been done? Then, after the growth of human settlements, pollution is an inevitable consequence, and several socio-economic aspects are also involved, and whether the judgment really makes any sense when governments are not able to improve the rivers even with their own programs like Namami Gange. So anyhow, the decisions in New Zealand and by the Uttarakhand High Court opened up several aspects for discussion, and the moot point is, can we bring back the pristine glory of our rivers? Right? it has thrown several aspects. Right friends, let us conclude this capsule. Please do join for third capsule. Have a nice day. Thank you.